Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. What a opener. There's something about that music that is just so stirring and so majestic and stately and I could listen to it over and over again. I'm not insisting that you should. Yes, but once upon a time there was a handsome virgin who dreamed of seeing a royal wedding. You guys remember the story? And then Harry met Meghan. I know it so well. Everything changed. I love it. He became a squatty. Yes. To defend the Sussexes. That's that virgin with love and laughter abound. And his wishes, oh yeah, and all his wishes came true. I think that's what it said. Um, well, anyway, I love that. That is like one of my favorite things ever. So I'm going to scroll back. Rodney Jackson was here first. Hello, Rodney. And I'm just going to let that play in the background while I say hello to a few people. Hello, Black Queen. Glad you're here. Carol Lunn. Sherry Ware wants to say hi to a bunch of people, including that handsome virgin. Oh, man. Okay. And multitask. There it is. Okay. And Lydia Washington is here. Des Mapp is here. And Lorna Williams, Sonia Johnson, Sharon Chung, Lily Lamore is here. Let's see, Mary H. Black Queen is here, right? Yes, of course you are. I just said that, right? April May, Berta Sanchez, Donna Reese, um, Annie Bullard, Maggie. Okay, I think I'm starting to repeat myself. Emma D. Yes. Okay. Oh, and I saw this. Thank you very much. Ray of Light. Thank you very much for the super sticker, and thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. And Happy New Year to you. It's just about that time. It may even be the New Year's Eve wherever you are right now. Stephen Black is here. 1998 champions. Lydia Washington. Oh, yeah, I think I said that. Joan Garcia. Yeah, I think I better quit while I'm ahead because I'm starting to get mixed up. All right. So, anyway, thank you, one and all. Thank you for being here. Welcome to Royal Sussex. And there you are. What Greta said. What I meant is what Greta said. Greta has been the sound heard round the world. Oh man, Andrew Tate, who tried to play the old dog whistle, misogyny whistle, um, sexist tropes. He tried to play all those things and ended up being um, taken to school and dropped off with his lunch money thanks to a 19-year-old girl named Greta from, where's she from? From Sweden? From Sweden, Norway, from Sweden. Yeah, so little Greta, who little pint-sized Greta, she's so tiny. She's so tiny, but her voice um is just massive. She has this massive platform that, like it or not, everyone is listening to her right now. Um You know what? And Joan Garcia, do you recall that during the Royal Sussex yesterday, I said if he uh, had sent this message to her, this tweet, if he messaged her, if he was in her inbox, I'll say that. If this was her inbox, I I I think it would seem a little more seedy and sinister. It seems very odd It seems very odd that he would target her. I said that yesterday. It was something that was kind of cringy about it, right? How was I supposed to know that as I was speaking, or maybe just before I went on yesterday, that he was arrested for some pretty serious charges? And even though people are saying that, oh, he was released, I just looked at something that said Romanian court rules social media influencer Andrew Tate to be detained for 30 days. Now, I don't know how the law in Romania works, but let me tell you this. It sounds like that 30-day period is a period of investigation. That is a 30-day period where he will not be allowed in his home. That's what it sounds like to me. So that sounds like 30 days to get your affairs in order. Their courts don't work like our courts, okay? Um, yeah, he's in trouble. But I said it yesterday. I said it's awfully strange that he would target this child, a teenager. It just felt cringy to me. And then I was going to watch oh gosh, what was it? Anita, my Duke and I was getting ready to watch that, and I never got around to it because she opened saying that this happened, and I was like, I couldn't even talk. So I never got around to watching it because I started looking at the news and reading stuff and all that. So that was very weird. That was very weird. It seemed weird in the moment, and it's even weird now. Okay, got a new member, I think, right? Is that a new membership? Let me see here. Okay, AXO NAACP Vancouver. Welcome to Royal Sussex. Looks like you have a new membership. Thank you so much for that. Greatly appreciated. Welcome to the family. Oh man, that is really cool. Thank you so much. Um, yeah, but cringe, cringe, cringe. That's all I can say is the whole thing was just cringeworthy. I thought it awfully strange. And then as I read the the oh god, I can't even think of right now, but when I read the tweet from him to her, again, it didn't get any better. It just seemed increasingly weirder and weirder by the moment. Um, let's see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find that tweet. But even if I can't, we all know how this started. Oh yeah, there it is, right there. So, oh, you know what? That tweet cuts off. That or does it? Yeah, that tweet cuts off. It continued to say, inbox me so that I can send you a list. No, send me your email so I can send you a list of my cars. And so she responds the way she replied to him with what she said. And so then he tries to reply with the, how dare you? Well, he is biracial. He is an American as well as he has British citizenship, right? So because he's hanging around with a lot of rich people, maybe that's where he gets the old pearl clutching. How dare you? How dare you, sir? You, sir, are not a gentleman. Maybe that's why he responds in such a high and mighty way. I don't know where he gets that from, but the how dare you was just so weak. So then he decides to go back and play with fire again. And so he decided to respond with, something to the effect, and it was so sick and twisted. I'm not even going to repeat it, but uh, that was even gross, and it was stupid. Oh, I'm not going to repeat it, but it was gross and it was stupid. And this is a 36-year-old man talking to a 19-year-old teenager who is, even in terms of stature, like I said, she's this tiny person in comparison to this 6'3" kickboxer. It was just wrong on so many levels. And then I saw this guy who I think he was either a rap artist or a comedian. Maybe he was both. And I don't even remember his name. And he said, "Dude, what are you doing flexing on a little girl like this?" He said, "I don't care that 19, yes, is technically an adult." He said, "But you're flexing on this young woman." And he said, "I don't know anything about either one of them." He said, "But it was trending. And when I looked at the age gap between 19-year-old Greta, whatever her name is what he said, and this Andrew Tate in his mid to late 30s," he said, right off the top, I don't care what was going on between the two of them, what messages had been exchanged, what kind of past there may or may not have been. It doesn't look right for this older man to flex on a child like this. It was it the whole thing drew so many comments across social media. It was just unbelievable. At a certain point, I just couldn't keep up. I was fascinated, but then at the same time, I'm like, this is a car wreck. I'm choosing to look the other way. And the guy made the comment before the arrest. I looked at the timestamp. It was before the arrest. So, Legs has a super chat. Anyone getting pizza and sitting back and reading a a tale? Oh yeah, to don't forget to recycle. Yeah. Yeah, I'd rather not say that name, but I get your point. Thank you so much, Legs, and thank you for the super chat. And of course, as always, for watching Royal Sussex. So, yes, Marshar says, oh, wait, here we go. Toxic masculinity and guys like Andrew always have that kind of energy. Oh man, you should have heard me trying to explain this to my aunt without saying it. Um, but I guess I'm kind of used to that. So yeah, I had to try to explain this to her. Um, because of course she was curious as to what was trending, and I told her so. All right, so let's get back over here. Um to today's oh, you know what, I am going to take a step away from that for just a moment, if you guys don't mind, because there's been more comments about this now. As you guys are aware, was it last week? It seemed like ages ago. The New York Times, one of my favorite news sources in the world, which I do have a subscription, by the way. The New York Times, the old gray lady is what they refer to the New York Times. They printed an essay, an article, an essay about the need to dismantle the royal family. Now, of course, this wasn't coming from the entire organization, but is it Gail Smith Gay? I forget what her name is. Something Gail Gay or something like that. Oh, Roxanne Gay. That's her name. So Piers Morgan tweets, "My God, New York Times publishes a shameful trashing of Britain and our royal family, including demand for the monarchy to be dismantled. This is what the Sussexes have done with all their lies, made the world view us as a bunch of callous racists." kind of like all of the lies from the tabloid media and all of the harassment from Piers Morgan on a daily basis, 5 days a week on Good Morning Britain, created an atmosphere where the Duchess of Sussex was in fear of self harm and also in fear of bodily harm from strangers. One could infer that from having an out of control media or having someone saying and doing and taking certain actions that can cause rather mentally fragile people to come after you. Yeah, I understand what he's saying. So I don't agree with it in the case of the New York Times, but if we want to make those kind of arguments, then let's have at it. So the article, it was an opinion piece. It says when Harry met and married an American actress, Meghan Markle, we saw in real time just how high a price the crown was willing to extract from an outsider up to and including her life. See what I mean? And that's from Roxane Gay, writes in the New York Times. So there's a legitimate argument to be had, both sides, of course. However, as they say, this 1,000-year institution ain't going nowhere. I would like to think that a nation of 66 million people are quite safe from an article in the New York Times, but it's a way to big up himself. So Piers Morgan has to try to look like the courageous savior of all of Britain. So Black Queen says, "Hello, Baron. The fool was mocking Greta." She said, "How dare you," in a fiery piece to the big corporations who she blamed for ruining the environment, her future and that of all young people. Okay, so that's where he gets that from. Still not a good clap back at her, kind of weak in comparison, because, by the time Greta said what she said to him, it was kind of like she said what she said, and then someone turned the power off on his mic, and you couldn't hear anything after that. But thank you for clarifying that. And thank you so much for the super chat and for being a member as well as a moderator of Royal Sussex. And happy Friday to you and a happy new year in advance. Thank you so much for being here. And then Leg says, "I don't know what piss moron is on Harry and Meghan didn't have anything to do. Didn't do anything. The tabloid press and the British media did it all on their own. He and the British media should take credit for their own accomplishments." You know what, Legs? And that is the better argument right there, because if not for the continued hatred toward the Duchess of Sussex, if they would have embraced her as the outsider, as the American, as the woman of color, if they would have embraced that, people would have been praising them from here to Harlem. There's no way in the world there would be any whiff of criticism toward the royal family, especially in the Commonwealth. But because of the history of the Commonwealth leading up to the moment that Meghan married into the royal family, because of the hopes that people of color had to have some form of representation within that institution, only to find out that you are not good enough and you never will be one of us, and we are going to banish you back to the Americas. Well, then that sends a clear signal to anyone and everyone that this institution is here to uphold whiteness, to uphold white supremacy, to uphold the right-wing values of the Brexiteers and the MAGA people. That is the message that has been sent out around the world. And what amplified that message, and we cannot downplay this at all, we need to make sure that it is front and center. The big thing that amplified that is the trip to the Caribbean by the very what word am I looking for? The very sheltered, naive, and dare I say ignorant. And I'm being nice when I say that. Um, but they seem to think that Cambridge has thought that if we just go and do everything that the Queen has done, then we will remind people that we are destined to be the new Elizabeth and Philip, right? But they didn't realize that time had moved on. Time had moved on. And as the, what is it, the prime minister, the president, prime minister of Jamaica said, we're moving on too. We've moved on from that. But instead of using some type of modernity in their tour, they got out the mid century playbook to disastrous effects. That was ridiculous. And that is one of the reasons why people are looking at the institution, giving the royal family, giving the United Kingdom the side eye, is because people are saying, who lives like this anymore and what purpose does it serve? But I'm going to talk some more about that later. Thank you so much, Legs, and thank you so much for the super chat. And as always, thank you for watching Royal Sussex. But yeah, that is something that should be considered, is what purpose does it serve in a modern world? Elaine Parker, thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex, as well as being a member of Royal Sussex. So thank you very much. Now, this was the headline for the article, or the header. When Harry met Meghan. And as you see, gosh, that only came out December the 19th. It seemed like a month ago already. Well, okay, so it came out December 19th. Now, changing the subject, here is Cold War Steve. Cold War Steve is an artist who takes clips and images. Oh, Jan Moore, thank you so much. Are you a new member? Are you a new member? I just saw that out the corner of my eye. Still a bargain at $4.99. Yes, new member, Jan Moore. Okay, where's my bell? New member. I wonder if this should be the new member bell. But just to prove that I haven't lost my manners, I am going to go back and I am going to find, where's our other new member? Well, anyway, another new member has joined us from Canada. Yes. All right. I'm sorry, the name escaped me just. Oh, there we are. There we are. New member. Very good. Still a bargain at just $4.99. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it. I just thought about a special effect I could use for new memberships. I'm going to work on that if I don't forget. Greetings, Baron, aka Master Messi. I like that. The most professional mod squad in all of our fearfully and wonderfully made squaddies. God is our refuge and strength, and a very present help in times of need. Thank you so much for that, Devani Gordon. And thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. Okay, now where was I? I hope I didn't jump ahead too much. Okay, there we are. So yeah, that's Cold War Steve. By now you've had a chance to examine this. You can see in the background Rupert Murdoch. You can see a table where they are divvying up the cash that has been brought in by their enterprises. You can see Liz Truss back there. It is a table of plenty. And the emperor sitting in the middle of all of that. Why is that? Boris Johnson? It sure is. There's Rishi Sunak on the right in his blue toga. And in the background are the nurses or the healthcare workers trying to get a decent living wage. So there's a lot going on there. I may have missed a few things, but there's a few people I don't even recognize, or I know them by face and just don't know the name. But Very clever the way he put this together. His name is Cold War Steve, and you guys, I think he even has created puzzles from some of his artwork. And here's another. Now, I recently shared this with you guys. The image on the right side is an old image, and I could not make out the um, title of the work. But as you can see, it depicts the upper crust as they are weighing down the working class people. And Cold War Steve on the left side has his own take on that very famous image. And there you can see again the upper crust is weighing down the or suppressing the working class people, the working class and the poor, of course, which sometimes is one and the same. And of course, the horror of someone actually breaking through that barrier that separates them. So very interesting, and I love the way that Cold War Steve. You can see Mick Lynch down there with the protesters. I love the way that he has managed to create a very modern image out of something that was probably done, I'm guessing, during the Gilded Age. That's what it looks like, a depiction of life during the Gilded Age, the robber barons, as they were called, and the corporate titans and such. So Taiwan, thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you for watching Royal Sussex and being a member of Royal Sussex. Thank you very much. Okay, and then here was one of the most recent, I think it was the most recent image of the Duchess of Sussex, who seems to be surrounded by a bunch of greedy, misogynist, racist people. And there she is, Grace under pressure, and sitting off to the side like a big dunce, or nonce as they have referred to him. There is that Andrew person. So a lot going on here. I love the little touch with the avocados on the table. And oh my goodness, is that Murdoch that's leaning over and has extended his hand? I think that's Rupert Murdoch. But yeah, interesting image. And of course, in the background, you can see that big giant bison head. I do believe that is supposed to be Jeremy Clarkson. And of course, there's a hog head peeking out. That's obviously Pierce Morgan. So, very interesting image. Thank you again, Cold War Steve. I am always moved by his work. Okay, so we are going to switch it up. So, staying on the topic of the day, you can't make this up. Romanian authorities were urged last year to effectively prosecute human traffickers by Greta, the group of experts against trafficking human beings. So, Greta, I think that's an acronym from the Romanian language. Um, Romanian is not a language that originates from the Slavic dialects. I believe it originates from the Germanic languages, even though it is, deeply ensconced into the Eastern European landscape. I think the big odd thing about them is that their language is not doesn't have origins in Slavic tongue. It is actually a Germanic language, and um, obviously Romania, founded by the Romans, is probably what that means. Um, if you guys ever go to Europe, wherever you go, every country is quite proud of their Roman heritage, or the founding of their land or territories, the naming of which from the Romans. They're all very proud of that. Wherever you go, you are going to find parts of a Roman wall. I mean to tell you, I went to the bathroom and I thought I was going to lean up against a Roman wall. So every place you go, there's some remnant of Rome, which is cool. I'm not criticizing that at all. I think it is really cool because it's just one of those layers of history. So just throwing that out there. So anyway, so Romania is in Eastern Europe. I have watched several documentaries and have read several reports over the years about just that thing, trafficking involving Eastern Europe. Since the fall of the Soviet Union, one of the biggest exports in terms of young people is, students, all right, students. And another one, of course, is people who get into that particular trade to support their families back home. And sometimes they are lured out of the country because, male or female, mostly female, of course, they assume that they're going to get a job in the West where they can support their families back home, only to get caught up in the worst possible thing. So for the men, quite often it involves construction where they may or may not get paid, agriculture, they may or may not get paid, those sorts of things, because they're not coming into a country with any other skills but basic labor skills, not college education. So that's what okay, you're right, the Latin language, not Germanic, Latin. Thank you so much. So that is why I was surprised. I was surprised that someone like Andrew Tate Andrew Tate would end up living there. I'm saying to myself, he lives there? Why? I mean, this guy, if you look at his bio, he has had quite a path to Romania. So, born in the United States, of a mother who's English, from a town, Luton, I think it was, and his father was an international chess championship. I'm just trying to remember from what I read yesterday. But anyway, so he's got all this going on. He himself plays the main game of chess. But at some point, I think he was 15 years old, he decides to get involved with kickboxing, right? With kickboxing. And so, all right, cool. This kid is like a high achiever. Love it. And so when his parents broke up, his mother moved back to England, and he and his brother went along with her. And so he has dual citizenship in the United States and in the United Kingdom. Very cool. Now, around 2017, that's when he ends up in Romania. And this is the second time this year that there has been a call for police at his house. He was questioned, I believe, in the spring. So all of this is just very, very odd. Hello, Robert Collins. Thank you so much for being here. What is that? Let me see. Hi, Baron and fellow squatties. Joining from Rome at, wait, don't tell me, 10:30 at night. Pedal broke the news just as you were ending yesterday's podcast. Oh, very cool. Thank you so much. And then there you are. So, Romania urges to effectively prosecute human traffickers to ensure access to compensation for their victims. So this has been a big thing. Romania, all of the rest of the countries in Eastern Europe that I can think of off the top of my head, this has been an ongoing thing since the collapse of the Soviet Union. And, wherever you go in Europe, you're going to find that a lot of families, have left to go and find work in the West. A lot of young people have left to go find work in the West. It's a thing. But not everybody is just finding, traditional jobs. Some people are, involved in the world's oldest profession. And so it's like, how do I put this? When certain people go that direction, go to the east, I'm always curious about their intentions. It's not to say that anybody does that is obviously involved in something, but it's a very curious thing to do. Now, one good reason to go east is because you can save a lot of money. You can live very well, especially a pensioner, and save a lot of money compared to living in Western Europe. You know, the further east you go, the lower the prices seem to get. So that's a good reason. If you're traveling, if you're a backpacker like myself, you go east, you save money. Um, that's just the way it is. But to have someone like this set up home there, I was just like, the first thing I said to myself, why is he in Romania? I mean, not that there's anything wrong with, but why is he in Romania with his jet set lifestyle? And so I didn't know he was living there. I thought he was just coming to visit. But no, then I find out he's pretty much been there since 2017. Pizza Boy lives in Romania because of weak human trafficking laws, allegedly, and tax evasion, allegedly. IRS would ask about where he got his money from for those cars, possibly, allegedly. Yes, Lorna Williams, that makes so much more sense today than it did yesterday. Yesterday was so fresh, I just wasn't sure, but now I'm just like, okay. And so there he was in his parlor, or in this house. I'm going to show you the house. It's a compound. You guys remember Prince lived in that like commercial looking space right off the highway. Um, this guy, as far as I know, doesn't really produce anything from his home. His home is where he lives. Prince had a studio, a stage, a theater, a commercial grade kitchen, and such. So he used his house the way an aristocrat would use a castle, the way a corporate executive would use their mansion as a place to broker business. But in this case, this was just the ultimate man cave, from what I can tell. So he's sitting there smoking a stogie. He's got someone hands him the pizza. I've actually seen the video. And there you can see on the side, it says Jerry's Pizza. Well, who knew that that was the name of a company in Romania? Jerry's Pizza? Well, it is. Let's see. Leola Brown, thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you for watching Royal Sussex. And happiest of Fridays to you. And thank you so much for being here. And in advance, Happy New Year's. And so then all of a sudden, knock, knock, who's there? Climate change, says Ricky. When I saw this, I screamed. I thought it was so funny. The police literally raided the place. Now, I believe this is an image from one of the tabloids. And so when I saw this, I'm like, you know what? I think I can do that just a little bit better. So, as you guys know, sometimes I'm up late working on stuff like this. Knock, knock. Who's there? Greta's Pizza. What? I already have pizza. I was just like, okay, that's really funny, but I think it needs a little something. So at first I was going to do the climate change, and then I was going to do climate change pizza, and then I said, no, why not Greta's Pizza? So there you go, Greta's Pizza. Uh, and then too, I almost gave it like an Italian name, Greta's Pizzeria, Mama Greta's. Knock, knock, who's there? Mama who? Mama Greta's Pizza. Oh man. But yeah, so that is pretty much what happened. The police came and raided the place. Now, Wait a minute. I wasn't supposed to be here yet. Hold on. Oh man. I hope I remember to go back to that. So there, you would wonder, seeing that he has all these new high profile friends like Pierce Morgan, Pierce Morgan and Dan Wootens, please send help. Help me, Dan. Help me, Pierce. He was he scheduled to speak or did he actually speak? It says here Andrew Tate on Twitter and Free Speech, and this is supposed to be on the Pierce Morgan show. I don't think he actually. Oh no, this is the appearance. You know what? He did actually make this appearance. I'm sorry, I was about to speak in error, but he actually did make that appearance with Pierce Morgan because I didn't actually see it, but they said that he talked circles around Pierce Morgan. And then, of course, there's this one, another chance to watch last week's hour-long special with Andrew Tate, in which the controversial influencer discussed misogyny, masculinity, and Meghan Markle. Now, that's the hook right there. Meghan Markle. England is one of the least racist nations on the planet, of course. Andrew Tate speaks to Dan Wooten about Meghan Markle's racism claims, saying their obsessing with race is detrimental. So, my point with this is he was being groomed and recruited to go after Meghan Markle on British television. They love that. Oh, by the way, undisclosed Cash App person, thank you so much for the Cash App. I just saw that pop up on my phone, and thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Greatly appreciate it. And so, yeah, that was the whole point. So they done that with that American woman who has a YouTube channel designed to hate on Meghan, who happens to even appear to be biracial herself. Um, they brought her over so that she could criticize Meghan. Well, the same thing here is that between Pierce Morgan and Dan Wooten, they, managed to hook him in, reel him in. Not that it was any kind of deception or anything. He was glad to do it because he's building his brand the way so many other people have built their brand, and that is by throwing hate toward Meghan, creating dissent toward Meghan. I mean, that is a go to setting if you want to enrich yourself. Uh, Drum up as much hate and contempt for Meghan. And if you are an American, and in this case, you have a biracial American who is quite outspoken, who can appear on British television, that's a win-win for everybody involved. Well, it was until there was a knock on the door last night. And who was at the door? Well, I think we all know who it was. It was Greta's Pizza. That's who was at the door. It was Greta's Pizza that came a knocking. So yeah, that is what they had planned for him. He would have made appearance after. He was going to do the entire, especially given his British citizenship, he was going to do the entire rounds on British television. I can assure you of that. You would have even seen him on um, what's her name? The one that, hello, Rush Myers. And now, Lorraine? Yeah, he would have gone on to Lorraine. And now we welcome Andrew Tate. Hello, Andrew Tate. And how are you today, Andrew Tate? What do you have to say about Meghan, Andrew Tate? Okay, that started drifting into an Italian thing, didn't it? But I get a big kick out of Lorraine, right? And now we go to Russell Myers. Hello, Russell Myers. What disparaging thing do you have to say about Meghan, Russell Myers? So yeah, he would have done the whole thing. So better off he spends 30 days in the pokey and then figure out how bad do you really want to do what they're asking you to do. So, getting back over here, this is his compound. It's not just a house, it's a compound. There is enough space for more than 33 vehicles. As you can see with this street view image, it's a massive structure. It's like a big commercial space. It looks like a place where you would have like a hardware store, lumber yard. It looks like a big box store. That's what it looks like. And inside is a monument to gaudy, tasteless man cave couture. You have, curiously enough, during a house raid, how odd is it that you look in the background and you can see on the television the Queen's favorite son, Andrew, and the woman that was paid 12 million plus pounds because he never met her and for something that he definitely didn't do. I repeat, take a look to the left photo, and all the way in the background there, you can see a television, and on the screen at Andrew Tate's house is the image of Andrew, Duke of York, with a woman he never met who was paid a lot of money for something that he never did. Isn't that odd? And then the other thing, check out the middle photo. This is a security surveillance room. You know what? Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I don't know what the rate of crime or the level of crime is in Romania, but any place where you have someone counting money on social media, any place where you have a collection of rare exotic cars, any place where you yourself have weapons and God knows what else, then with a 15-foot high wall and everything else, it just makes sense that in your lair that you have a security room with several monitors surveilling the place all over. I mean, that is his home. His home looks like a fortress. That is Fort Tate. And there's the living room. It's not a showroom in some commercial space. It's not the lobby of some boutique hotel. That's his living room. This is how he lives. Again, there's nothing to say that there's anything illegal going on. I'm not here to judge that. I'm just saying it looks awfully strange. So that is how this guy has been living. So over here, you can see it says, I would like to thank Elon Musk for letting Andrew Tate back on Twitter so he could get owned so badly by a 19-year-old girl that he inadvertently self-doxed him and his brother location for the Romanian authorities, leading to his arrest. So there you have it. There's Andrew. There's his brother. There is the well armed Romanian police. And for the next 30 days, I guess they'll just have to sort things out. But whatever the case is, he should have left that girl alone. And even worse, keep Meghan Markle's name out your you know what in mouth, as Will Smith said. Keep her name out of your mouth. Score one for Greta, of course. Oh, wait, I didn't mean to do that. And there you have it. So, one of the things that I found really tasteless was as he was revving up this campaign to go after Meghan, um, what's really awful is that by him being so hateful and so critical to Meghan, it gave license to other people. And this is what's so disturbing to me. As they say, not all skin folks are kin folks. Just because they may look like you or look like somebody in your family or your neighborhood doesn't mean that their sensibilities are in alignment with yours. And so here he is, American or half American, if you will. Here he is, biracial himself. And instead of being supportive to the Duchess of Sussex, he goes on this like huge campaign to discredit her whenever and wherever possible. He was trying to do the misogyny card, the hyper male sexuality card, the masculinity card, all of those cards he was playing, and none of them seemed to do any good for him when the Romanian police showed up and carted him away, taken down by a box of pizza and a 19-year-old girl. None of the weapons and surveillance, none of that stuff did him any good when the popo came a knocking. So, mic drop for Greta. Boom. A big mic drop for Greta. Greta Thunberg wins the day. And the best part is we get a chance to see her in that new up-and-coming series presented by the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Okay, so with that, I am going to take a look at a few of your comments, and I need to try to sort out, why did I have that other misplaced slide? Why did I have that slide there that was misplaced? Oh, okay. I know where I meant to use it, so no big deal. Okay, Henpao says, I won't be surprised if he's involved in stealing cars from the UK to ship to Eastern Europe. Now that is something I didn't think about. Of course, I have to say we have no knowledge of that here at Royal Sussex and likes, but that is a theory that, you know, has some merit, because there are in the West, every year vehicles come up missing, and especially if you live by a port city, there is a high there are high incidents where your car leaves your driveway or a shopping mall, ends up in a steel container out to sea, and then into another country. And even sometimes they end up in Africa. They don't necessarily stay there. They end up in Africa. And the people who have them, they don't even bother to change the license plate. There might be somebody riding around Africa with your license plate, riding around in Asia with your license plate, riding around in Eastern Europe. Well, pretty much there they would probably change the license plate. But yeah, that does happen. So, that is something to consider. But I thought this guy was like wealthy because of his kickboxing career. So I'm trying to figure out, would he even need to involve himself in anything like that? So I'm going to just, reserve my judgment until I know better, because I just assumed that he got all of his wealth from his career, and maybe anything else was just like some type of, I don't know, hobby or whatever. But there's so much to unpack here. But you know what? The social media sleuths are going to be all over this, and they are going to sort it out. I promise you. Thank you so much, Hen Pal, for the super chat, and thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Oh man, I am fascinated by this case. I really am. There is so much to unpack here. Lorna Williams has a super chat. Piers Morgan knew who Pizza Boy was. He does background workups on his guests. He was hoping for something worse. Okay. Thank you so much, Lorna Williams. I am going to let my imagination go wild with that one. Something worse. What could that possibly mean? Let's see here. Maybe Andrew York is Andrew Tate hero and is trying to do the same thing to girls in Romania that Andrew York did with the other people. Well, it's a small world. It's a small world. And what is that they say? 6 degrees of separation. There is a bunch of links in reference to people that are involved in all of these things. It's amazing. I feel like I should be one of those detectives and have like a bulletin board and just take the red thread and draw from one person to the next person, because there seems to be a lot of loose connections where all of these people are concerned. And Mercedes Todd, you have just really reminded me of something. You know how they say they're trying to deflect? They're trying to deflect. They are constantly calling people on the left particular names and accusing them of particular things, especially where children are concerned, when most of the times the people that get caught or get arrested, the ones that are busted and humiliated, they seem to be people on the left, on the right wing. Isn't that odd the way that works out? Like the whole thing with accusing Hillary of Pizzagate. Again, there goes, what? Yeah, and why is there always pizza? You know what? I wasn't even going to talk about that, but I heard Petal say pizza, and I'm just like, that's interesting, Petal. I wasn't even going to talk about that, but I just thought about that. Pizzagate, Pizza Express, Jerry's Pizza. Why is there always pizza involved? Now, see, that's just a connection I didn't even mean to make. Why is there always a pizza involved? Should I stop eating pizza? But there always seems to be a pizza involved. I'm almost like ready to give up pizza because I don't want to get in trouble. You know what I'm saying? I'm already on parole. I don't want to get in trouble. Um, I'm just kidding. I'm not on parole. But yeah, it just always seems to be a pizza involved. What are the chances that everything leads to pizza? Well, now, Church Nelly, with you, there's always something else involved. A kilt, um, what's his name? Nacho. Yeah, there's always nachos involved with Church Nelly. But yeah, it always leads back. It's 6 degrees to pizzeration. All right, thank you so much. Let me see. Oh, I did that already, right? Where am I going here? Where am I going? Oh man. Oh, okay. So there's Church Nelly's A Million and One Pizzas. Wow. Let me see here. Enough said. Andrew, Robert, Richard, Charles, etc. in common. Yeah, Chelsea, see, that is so true. It's it's a lot of connections here. I don't even want to try to do that right now because if I can't be completely thorough about it, I don't. But one of these days, I am going to, make a grid, a map, or something to make these connections. But there always seem to be pizzas involved. Oh my goodness. Well, Mad World, I would now see if that happens right now. I'm going to tell you, at this moment, nobody can deliver a pizza to my house. No one is allowed to deliver a pizza to my house. I just don't want it. I don't want what comes with it. So if you aren't planning to send me a pizza, especially if I don't know about it, I don't want it. There's too much involved. Okay, so I'm going to move on because we got so much more to cover. So hit it. Okay. Um, le don del anno secondo il coer, right? Alcun le avere piante altir amate a out. Anyway, I guess what I'm trying to say is some of you have mourned, some others loved, and others perhaps criticized. There are more than 50 women in 2022 chosen by the COEA journalists and journalists, and some will be missing from top to bottom. Annie Arnaud, Elena Zelensky, Serena Williams, Taylor Smith, Swift rather, Santa Marin, what is that? Francia Marquez, Alexandra Molotov Cocktail. I don't know what that name is. Meghan Markle, Georgia Milani, what is that? Masha Amani, Samantha Cristoforetti, etc., etc., etc. So there's 50 names. They are young, adult, elderly, who, in addition to crossing generations, unite squares. This is translated, so the grammar may be a bit off. Stages, screens, spaces, and countries. They are politicians, actresses, directors, songwriters, sportswomen, writers, scientists, business women, activists, girls, and ordinary citizens. Perhaps scrolling through their faces, there will be someone unfamiliar to you, but we have at least one reason to tell you how each of them has marked the last 12 months in one way or another. Tell us about your woman of the year at Le 27 Horas, something or something, Arrivederci. So that was from an Italian magazine. Um, and they want to celebrate the 50 women in 2022 that they felt and somehow changed the world or was a great inspiration. Now, one of the names that is on this list that may surprise you is Queen Elizabeth II, which is why they say some of them we may have mourned. So Queen Elizabeth II is also on that list. Reba Henderson, thank you so much for the super chat. Baron Pizza is involved because someone cannot cook. All right, that makes sense. That makes sense. If you can cook, almost any night is pizza night. Thank you so much for clarifying that. Let me see. Yeah, both Andrews have pizza in common. Sickos. Let me see here. Oh, wow. I see you guys got pizza on your mind, so I don't need to ask what's for dinner tonight, huh? Let me see. Tate reminds me of of a fast-talking pimp. I never paid him any mind until he attacked Meghan. I never heard of him until yesterday. I literally never heard of him until yesterday. That was my first time. Pizza, mob, money, laundry, and massage. 100%. Whoopi Rock won. That is something to think about. That is something to think about. Wow. Okay. As you can see, I'm scrolling all over the place. And Berta Sanchez says, you notice that the men are older. They have pizza. Who likes pizza? Most young ladies and young men. Great point, Berta Sanchez. Great point. Yeah, great point. Mm-mm-mm. Well, I tell you, though, and when there is little opportunity at home, it is so easy for young people to get caught up in, situations where they quickly lose control, where somebody quickly takes away their passport. And there's something like mentally having your passport taken away from you. It's almost as though someone has just snatched the keys out of the ignition of your car. You just feel like you're stuck. And I think that um, if you ever travel someplace and you're afraid that I don't speak the language, I don't know my way around, I don't know anybody, it always helps to know where the nearest consulate or embassy is. I'm just saying, it's always helpful to know where the nearest consulate or embassy is, because that may be the only place where you can find some help. I'm just saying, not that it's the most important thing, but it's one of those resources that I'm sure a lot of people don't think about, but in some places, they don't have either. So, but yeah, thank you so much for that, Berta. All right, so moving on. Where was I? Oh, well, let's see. I did that. Oh, Travelers. There we go. Travelers Coalition welcomes new partner, Travelport. Travelers, the not-for-profit sustainable travel organization set up by Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, today expands its coalition to include Travelport. Travelport product and technology leaders will now take an active role in collaborating on the Travelers framework and implementing its methodology for emissions reporting in travel retailing. So, yet another big move for Prince Harry and the Travelers group. Uh, this is just to remind you guys, this announcement from today is a good reminder that even though we're all sitting back waiting for Prince Harry's book, the Duke of Sussex has quite a few projects going on. He's not just a one-trick pony. And even though the tabloid media tries to get in people's heads and convince them that Meghan and Harry have nothing but talking about the royal family to do, they got other stuff going on. They are building their financial security. And I promise you guys, within the next few years, we're going to be talking about that billionaire power couple, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, none of which is due in part to help from the royal family. They have decided to cast them adrift, and thank God for that, because they're not going to owe them anything. And, I'm so tired of hearing people talking about, we'll give up the titles. Those titles mean absolutely nothing in America. Nothing. Everybody knows them as Harry and Meghan. They titled their docuseries Harry and Meghan. That is their brand. Those titles don't mean a lot once you leave the shores of Britain. They just don't. So, but nice try anyway. Those titles are Harry's birthright, and I see no reason why he should give up something that belongs to him. Now, he offered to give them up, as mentioned in the docuseries, but that's his prerogative if and when he chooses to give them up. But I guarantee you, nobody's going to take anything away from him. If you think that they having trouble now with public relations, go ahead and take the titles and see what happens. Because they are really treading water right now. They're walking on thin ice in that country. The royal family. It's not so much what we think outside of Britain. It's what people on the inside are thinking about that is going to be a problem for them. Again, I will talk about that later. Okay, and so speaking of Harry, 10 new books coming in January. Watch for the follow-up of Lee Bardugan's Ninth House and a damning investigation of cobalt mining. Let me see. Oh, maybe you've heard about a new memoir coming from Prince Harry. Have you guys heard of that? Did you guys hear about Harry's book? Anybody? There's a new memoir coming from Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex. As a matter of fact, we've been talking about this since 2021, the summer of 2021. Royals dreading Harry's raw and unflinching book. Well, we don't know that. The book is going to be printed in several languages. So just about everybody in the world is going to have access to the book, The Spare. Now, I heard someone say, one of the tabloid people, they say, well, who's to say that this book is going to be a bestseller? Isn't it already a bestseller? Am I wrong? But isn't the book already a bestseller? I thought it's already sold out and that it's already a bestseller. Am I wrong about that? I thought it was a bestseller already. I thought the book, which is not even printed, oh yeah, I know, Carolyn. It's so awkward. I keep hearing people say book, and I'm not sure what they're talking about. But yeah, it's really awkward. I what book? But yeah, as far as I know, I thought the book was already a bestseller. So, oh, you got two copies. Okay. Well, I ordered mine within an hour of release, or of mention rather. And so I need to go back and do the audio and the digital book. Oh, wow. So, okay. Thank you. Caroline says, yes, it is a bestseller. I thought so. But one of the tabloid people, one of the royal rodents, said, and who's to say that this book is going to be a bestseller like they thought it would be? It's already a bestseller, stupid. It's already a bestseller. We don't have to think about what it is because it is what you're saying it's not a bestseller. God, those people are so lame. I'm writing this not as the prince I was born, but as the man I have become, Prince Harry. Now, I saved this from last year when we were talking about the book last summer. We've been talking about this book since the summer of 2021, when it was it fall, when it was announced. And now it's here. And they can't take it. Enough. It's just the book. These are images that I use to talk about the book, really just to taunt the the haters. Prince Harry's book deal, blah 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 blah. Well, anyway, the book is here. Harry is already a best-selling author. Well, anyway, January 10th is not far away. And there's Harry strumming my pain with his fingers, singing my life with his words, killing me softly with his song, killing me softly with his song, telling my whole life with his words, killing me softly with his song. I can't wait. And of course, Charles is going to have to join in, and he'll probably say, Camilla, Camilla, I heard he sang a good song. I heard he had a style. And then, of course, Camilla is going to blow smoke in Charles' face. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then he came right over to listen for a while. I know the song. I know the song. Oh, man. Oh, but I can't wait. I don't know what I'm talking about. Hey, what's in this drink? Um Leave Harry and Meghan alone. I can't stress that enough. Leave them alone. Stop talking about them, and you might feel better about yourself, and you may even keep your partners. Dorothy Ross, thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex, and happy Friday to you. Also, in advance, Happy New Year, and thank you for being a member of Royal Sussex. So, Ruth Langsford takes time off from Loose Women amid ill health. Well, we're going to pray for her. God only knows what's wrong with her. And then Jan Moore confirms with a split with best friend Gary live on Loose Women. Oh, she confirmed it live on. Okay. All right, that's pretty sad. And then Eamon Holmes, we all know that she took a turn for the worse, and unfortunately is having severe back pains or whooping cough or something. Anyway, Eamon says that he is feeling mighty po. Eamon Holmes. Okay, no, not that, not that. Oh yeah, that's Eamon right now. Poor Eamon. Lack of mobility stops me from doing really simple things like going after Harry and Meghan and criticizing the Sussexes and uplifting and celebrating the royal family for doing little or nothing. Yeah, I'm really sad to hear that. That's interesting. And then, of course, since it's still Throwback Thursday, I love this. Let me take a trip down memory lane. When Piers Morgan told the world that he is, checks tweet, he is very popular with women of color. I tag him, but the Twitter says he ain't. We ain't friends no more. We ain't friends no more. Then he tried to have me banned. Who's the snowflake? Well, right here, you can see what Pierce was responding to. No, Miss Ross. However, you don't speak for all women of color. I'm actually very popular with women of color, just not abusive, foul mouthed women of color like you who do a massive disservice to decent women of color when you pretend to speak for all of them. Well, what started this was when Ty Ross told him, said, I'm speaking for all women of color when I say to Piers Morgan, go F yourself. Did I tell you guys I have fallen in love today? Did I tell you guys I have fallen in love? I think I have found the one. Her name is Ty Ross, and I like her hair, I like her smile, and mostly I like the way she told Piers Morgan to go F himself. As you can see, that tweet is from August 21. Yeah, I think I found my match. I am ready to build a home. I'm ready to start a family. Thank you so much, Tyros. There aren't many things in this life that give me pleasure, but for the few that there are, unbridled pleasure, I would have to say that tweet, that epic tweet, was probably the best thing that I've seen since Greta Thunberg. So thank you so much for that. I am going to build a shrine to you later, and God bless America. So H Knight has been a member for 8 months. H Knight, 8 months membership. Thank you so much for that, H Knight. Just saw that out the corner of my eye. All right, so moving on. Every kiss starts with K. Every kiss starts with K. What a hokey song, isn't it? Every jeweler's every kiss begins with Prince Harry and Meghan. Well, apparently there is a advertising campaign that involves Harry and Meghan lookalikes. Now, the photo, I just love that photo. It's obviously not Harry and Meghan, but they have did some, they superimposed their heads on some not so nice bodies. I mean, okay bodies, but not great. But yeah, obviously that's not Harry. Certainly not Meghan. And well, Harry looks too short to be Harry. You know what I mean? So that's not Harry. And then, of course, there's the ginger that they have cast for Harry and the dark haired woman who has been cast as the Duchess of Sussex. Very cute. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Very cute. Um, but I tell you what, you are not going to find the Duchess of Sussex down at K Jewelers. Megan prefers jewelry that is, not custom, but comes from small jewelry makers, people who have like collections that they sell direct to the public or whatever. You know what I mean? She doesn't go to the big box places for that, to the big jewelry store chains. Not that she's above that or anything, but I think she likes to have more intention with her jewelry, and she wants to help small jewelry makers get noticed. So that's why I couldn't imagine the Duchess at K Jewelers. But if you ever hear someone say, "May I see your tiara collection?" Maybe. So Shelly L says, "You're popular with women of color. Name five. We will wait." um. Okay. So popular with women of color. The funny thing is, well, the sad thing, Shelley, is that for Pierce Morgan, if you want to find women that he's popular with, you'd have to say Meghan, um, not liked, but just, popular. Because Meghan, Serena Williams, Simone Biles, Naoki Osaka, and I'm trying to think of another woman of color that he's been like going after. Oh gosh, I got to be able to make a list of five. I can't think of another person for some reason. But yeah, those are people that he has been popular with, but not in a positive way, in a very negative way. But I'm pretty sure they all know him. I'm pretty sure that they probably have sat down with their lawyers because of him. But yeah, thank you so much, Shelly L. That is, you've given me something to think about. Oh man. Okay, so that was the K Jewelers. Again, you can see the lookalike actors portraying themselves. Yes, Dr. Shola, thank you. And Jamil, that's a good one. That's five. That's six, really. So yes, thank you so much, Dr. Shola and Jamil. Okay, and then of course there's this. Don't forget, Greta Thunberg is going to be in Live to Lead, which starts late tonight. I repeat, late tonight. So if you guys want to talk about it tomorrow, try to watch it, the first episode at least in the morning, and because I suppose we'll be able to binge watch it, right? I don't suppose they're going to do that half and half, but yeah, I am going to be exhausted because I know I'm going to want to see this. So, okay, you guys, but that is coming up. And then there is this curious conversation. So, I'll let you guys listen to this, and I hope that my computer does not buffer. It's not the computer, it's actually Twitter that has been acting up where it buffers for, whatever reason, but it starts to buffer and it throws things off massively. So, gonna do my best, but here you go. Take a listen, and we'll talk on the other side.
I mean, these things operate, as we've been saying throughout this conversation, on two levels. There's the personal level as a dad, and I think he'll be just very sad about it, because the key thing that has come through in the documentary so far, and I think will be even more brutal and painful in the book, is this sense that he was an absent father. So in the first three episodes, because I've watched all six to spare you both, in the first three episodes, he talks about his family in Africa. He talks about a family in the army, but makes no reference to his dad as a father. So there's that aspect of it, and then I think there is the aspect of the impact on the institution. And I know you will probably both disagree with me, but I think that actually the institution has lost something, and I think the institution can't see that it's lost something, and in part it can't, because the vast majority of the media say that all the blame lies with the Sussexes and Charles and William above reproach.
I agree. I think
agree.
The Sussexes have. I think the Crown has lost something. They were a huge asset in their time. What I don't think enough emphasis is placed on this factor. the Sussexes have accused the media of peddling trash for cash. You know, that Meghan was on the front page of every magazine. She fills newspapers. What is different about what they're doing? $100 million from Netflix for a 6-hour documentary, tens of millions for the book. They are exchanging their content, royal content, for huge amounts of money. And I don't think that's going to be easily and quickly forgiven or forgotten.
But I suppose the key word is, they would say, is control, isn't it?
Yes.
They are controlling what they present to the world. Because
they're selling it. They're not controlling it, they're selling it.
But they've never asked for privacy. I think that's a when they left, they didn't say, we're going for a private life.
Yes, well, what about when the Times Meghan says everyone knew where we were, we had to get out, they threw us to the wolves, we were fed to the wolves, where they took away our
security. That was about their security, yeah.
That's about security, which is also about privacy, because if you don't have security, you have to move around it. Anyway.
Yeah.
Should we finish on a positive and final?
Okay, so that was Peter Hunt, Rachel Johnson, who is Boris Johnson's sister. God, I was going to say something else. And Nick Ferrari. As Peter Hunt pointed out, they never said anything about privacy. Rachel Johnson, isn't it interesting that she and Meghan have the same first name? Rachel Johnson, so she does the whataboutisms, and the big whatabout is, but they're selling their story. Hate listeners, I'm not talking to squatties, I'm talking to hate listeners, because I think the hate listeners are usually MAGA people, and I think the MAGA people are usually pretty anti-black woman, anti anything that does not involve certain, ways of life, like the mid-century back of the bus kind of life. I'm going to say this. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Oprah Winfrey filled the pages of magazines. Oprah Winfrey could sell magazines off the newsstands one after the other. Grocery store, bus station, wherever it was, people bought magazines because Oprah was on it. Everybody was telling Oprah's story except for Oprah. So Oprah very wisely started her own, I'm pounding my fist, I'm so sorry. Oprah started her own magazine called O, where she could put herself on the cover and make money from her own image, as opposed to other people selling her image and telling her story. The magazine sold so well that at a time when other magazines, one after the other, was folding, O magazine made money. The Sussexes would rather be left alone where that is concerned, but they were forced into a situation where they had no choice but to sell their story so that they would have financial security. And what does financial security equal, Rachel Johnson? It equals physical security. It equals life security. It equals happiness for yourself and for your family security. So it's not just about, we can make a few bucks if we just sell our story. How about we can have security? We can afford the up to $3 million a year that it costs to keep our family safe. And why do I know that it costs $3 million a year? Because when they were threatening to pull the security away from Harry and Meghan, it was the British tabloid press who told everybody in the world that they're losing their security. How are they going to pay for it? They can't expect Canada to pay for it. And then, of course, they coerced the father of all MAGA people. Donald Trump said, we're certainly not going to pay for it. So here you have a family of 3, soon to be 4, and let's throw in Doria, family of 5, that needs security. And you have the British tabloid press not only telling people where they are, but they don't have any protection. Go get them. That's where they are. They don't have protection. Go get them. Are you listening, wolves? The Sussexes are alone in Canada in some lakeside house. They don't have any security. They're not going to get security because they can't afford it, because it costs between $3 to $5 million a year. That's where I got that number from. So when Rachel Johnson says, but they are selling their story, that whataboutism, that's all well and good. But if we're going to go down that road, what about the royal family? Are they paying for their own security? Why is the British taxpaying public paying not just for their physical security, but paying for their homes to be protected, even when they're not there? And not just their home, their homes, plural. Some of them don't even live in the homes. Don't the royal family have a house in Northern Ireland that nobody lives in except the help? Don't they have a home in Northern Ireland? There's homes all over the place. And there's the world's poshest council housing or housing projects, Kensington Palace. I've walked past that place. I've walked through that place. There's security everywhere, and the taxpayers are paying for it. So Peter Hunt very wisely threw that in there. He didn't even really need to say that, but he just threw it in there just to make the point that they never mentioned privacy, which they have not. That is a construct that was created by the British tabloid media. And I have to say, it is an incredibly clever talking point, and it's also an incredible lie. It was never mentioned by the Sussexes. It was never brought up. Privacy in terms of family security, privacy in terms of entering and exiting your home without the tabloid media telling everybody when and where you're going and how long you'll be there. Yeah, everybody wants that privacy. And it's just very interesting that since they left Britain, all of those leaks about their whereabouts and about their activity, about their projects, all of that is stopped. The only time we really discuss their security is when they go back to Britain. Now, there was the odd case of the intruder on their property here and there. But aside from that, the only discussions of security seems to be when they're in Britain. Because in Montecito, there are no leaks. There are no leaks in Montecito. Okay, so King Charles plans a full-blown coronation while Britain buckle under the cost of living crisis, and British services continue to crumble, are out of touch, and hypocritical. My latest Yahoo News column. So again, you guys, please make sure you go to Yahoo and click on to Omid Scobie's column, because Omid is on the right side of history at present, and we want to make sure we reward his righteousness, if that's the right word, by actually clicking on his column on Yahoo, because there's a lot of garbage out there. There's a lot of lies out there. And unless you're okay with that, we have to throw support to people that are actually making a difference where the Sussexes are concerned in a positive way, as opposed to the usual hate and vitriol that seems to make up the daily headlines about Harry and Meghan. So just a thought, if you can do it, but it's on Yahoo. You can, just Google him, I suppose, or search him on Yahoo. Okay. But yeah, that is something that you can do. So Right here, you have the, you know what? Before I do that, let me go back. Okay, I don't mean to do that one. Oh, yeah, you know what? I love this picture. I'll leave that there for now. Let me go back to that slide that seemed to be out of place and I couldn't figure out why it was there. Because I know I skipped over something and I'm just like, why is that slide there? So it was, huh, where did it go? Uh, misplaced slide, misplaced slide. Huh. Uh, maybe it was one of my own. What? Okay, it was this one. So, Kate Middleton's wardrobe. Why did I use this today? This was so the other day. I don't know why I brought this up. Okay, next. I don't need that. But yeah, this was about the. Let me see. Kate Middleton wardrobes cost taxpayers £176,000, and Meghan Markle used her own money. But the Daily Mail is trying to stir. It should be stare, right? To stir up hatred against her again. Well, what they're referring to is the fact that um, Kate's wardrobe, I guess the Daily Express, sometimes they seem to work against the other royals as opposed to uplifting them. And so this one is one that they let slip where they talked about her wardrobe. And I mean to tell you, it was some ugly pieces that they were trying to celebrate. But okay, I won't go there. But Meghan's wardrobe doesn't cost the British taxpayer anything. Kate is wearing sovereign grant clothes. Meghan is wearing, hey, I came to that family with $5 million, more or less, probably more, but that's the number that they give is that she had $5 million. So Meghan comes there with $5 million or more, and she bought her own wardrobe. And since she's left, she's been pretty much wearing a lot of bright colors and more conspicuous clothing and still sticking to her, neutral tones. But whatever the case may be, the British taxpayer is not paying for her clothes. She's paying for her clothes. She has a working income that has nothing to do with the sovereign grant. So why start that up? I don't know, other than to stir up hate against the Duchess of Sussex. But as per usual, when they do stuff like that, when they do these false comparisons, it only ever makes Kate look bad. Kate is the one who comes out looking pretty pathetic. And I think that someone made a phone call to try to offset that story at a time of austerity. It seems like someone must have, looked the other way. And then suddenly there's a story about how much Kate wardrobe costs. Well, let me see. What could a family of four do with £176,000 at a time like this when the British economy, along with the rest of the world, by the way, is going through some terrible, terrible inflation, but it is hitting the people in Britain particularly hard. I don't think it's been this bad since the post-war era, where there has been so many food banks opened up, and I'm thinking that the amount of new home sales has diminished a great deal since post-war Britain. So they have a lot of problems going on, but yet they still want to throw the price of Kate's wardrobe out there. That was a big mistake. That was a very, very big mistake. But I'm not trying to help them. They chose to do that. So all I can say is just leave Meghan alone. So Meghan's $78,993 wardrobe for 2022, if that's what she paid for it, that's her own money and it's nobody's business. But as usual, if a woman of color has certain things, especially when it comes to racist people, they love to call them out on it. And people have been doing that to Oprah, to Obama, and just about anybody else who has things that just happen to be um, a person of color, and in particularly a black woman. They love to attack black women for having things. I don't get why that's so important to them, but maybe it's part of a greater tactic to keep those people, quote unquote, in their place. Shelly L says, plus M's also getting royalties from Suits running on syndication all over the world. Yes, Shelly L, thank you for that. That's a good reminder. There's syndication rights that come from those television shows, pretty standard in the industry. And a lot of people depend on that money. And, let's face it, when the Duchess of Sussex married into the royal family, it gave a huge ratings boost to the Suits, and dare I say, because of Meghan's continued philanthropy and exposure, it continues to help them along. So just like this thing with Greta Thunberg, all of a sudden, people are going to see her face as they go through the menu of the Netflix, and they'll be more likely drawn to see what it's all about. So thank you very much for the reminder, Shelly L, and thank you again for the super chat. Very, very kind. Let's see. Oh, this is what I was looking for. Baron, Rachel Johnson is just as ignorant as the day is long. The Sussexes never used their titles in anything. For the British people could try to say taxes, so Rachel cut it out, cut you out. You know, if I recall, the agreement is they would not use their titles for the purposes of commerce or trade, right? And of course, the style Duke and Duchess of Sussex, the HRH, they retain all of that, but they do not use it for trade. Now, Meghan's name is Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. That is part of her style, which makes it her name. And she's entitled to use that anytime she wants to. But mostly, she just uses Meghan. And, okay, so the Duchess of York, who has authored several books, who has sold everything from cookies to Weight Watchers, always uses her title, and nothing is ever said about it. That is their right to do that. And even someone like Lady C, Lady Colin Campbell, she's not even entitled to use that title. She has no right to it, but nobody can really stop her from using it. That is hers to use whenever she chooses to, because under the law, there's nobody who's going to say, you can't call yourself Lady C. That's why they use the Lady C, is because she doesn't really have a right to be Lady Colin Campbell. She's not, I don't think they were legally married. I think the marriage was annulled because of her little secret. So I don't even believe she has a right to that title, but she uses it because she wants to. The Sussexes have a right to use it. Big difference. But thank you so much, Shirley Kearney, and thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. Okay, so I am going to go back to where I left off because I couldn't remember why did I have that slide, but now it's coming back to me. So I will continue. I got to go down here. And I did that one, that one, that one, this one, that one, and this. Oh, okay. So to continue with that, Charles is asking for a full coronation. Whether or not they could really afford it is of no matter to him. He wants his birthright. Isn't that interesting? I didn't really mean to do that, but isn't that interesting? Charles wants his birthright, but people are saying that Harry is not entitled to his birthright. Wow, interesting. What century is this? Mary H. What century is this? Kathy Gabby, can you help me out? What century is this? Sherry, can you help me? What century are we in? Because when I see a cloak, when I see a cloak, it usually gives me that George III energy. That's the last time you really saw a king wear a cloak with so much going on. So I need to know what century this is because I don't know, maybe I bumped my head earlier and when I woke up, I saw this image and wasn't sure where I was. Yes, you know what? You're right. It is the 5th century. I can't be sure because when you look at the royal family, sometimes it's like medieval time dinner and tournament, isn't it? So no wonder Meghan was confused as to how am I supposed to curtsy because it is kind of like medieval times. Joan Garcia says, Baron, those what is that white women show? They don't think black women should have things, especially anything of quality. Um, it's an old story from slavery. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, Joan Garcia. That makes a lot of sense because during that era, um, I guess it was still very much enforced, especially like in New Orleans, where black women had to cover their hair. It was a rule, a law that they had to cover their hair. And in some cases, because of, the mixing of the races, um, there were some of them who still had rather dark skin, but had more European hair. And so they were required to cover their hair. So yeah, and it, I guess throughout history, there's always been this thing about only the aristocrats could dress a certain way. So a tradesman hat would be like a bowler, and then of course the top hat was reserved for you know the lord of the manor and such. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you for that. But and then too, in more modern times, there's still this idea that if a black woman has something nice, then it just seems like it's out of place or out of order in some kind of way. That is very true, and that is so sad. I still remember Congresswoman Curtis, no, not Curtis Collins, Carol Mosley Braun, Carol Mosley Braun, and every time Rush Limbaugh mentioned Carol Mosley Braun, he would play the theme song from the Jeffersons, and that's what he thought of her as the first. Uh, was she the first? She was the first black senator since Reconstruction. So she was the first black senator since Reconstruction, the post Civil War era. And he had so little respect for her that every time he mentioned her name, he would play the theme from the Jeffersons. And then she actually, if I'm correct, I believe she was one of the, I think it may have been a white liberal, had loaned her an apartment on the lakeshore because otherwise she lived in a pretty modest house and there had been threats and stuff made about the fact that she was a US senator of color. And so they, said, hey, why don't you stay here, instead of there? And so they made a big fuss about that because, she wasn't a member of a royal family or something. So the idea that you would be gifted or loaned a property, that's not really meant for a woman of color. And so that became a big deal. but my memory has faded a bit, but I still recall the thing with the Jeffersons. So yeah, thank you for that. You just reminded me of some things. And thank you so much for the super chat. All right. And so there you have the Saxe-Coburg Gothas with their wealth on full display. It says right here, erased our heritage and replaced it with gilded vulgarity of tasteless wealth. So, you guys, this conspicuous wealth that makes up the British royal family has not always been the case. The more garish, the more exuberant expressions of wealth that came from the Hanoverians and the Saxe-Coburg Gothas. In other words, when the wealthy German royals came over, they were spending money like it was literally being printed in the next room. Well, that's true. The wealth of the British royal family, the British royal family's wealth expanded in ways that is very, how do I put it, almost seems like illegal, but it expanded in ways like it had never done before. And that's why when you speak of the Regency period, was it George the fourth? Was it George the fourth or the fifth? No, I think, was it the fourth? I can't remember which George it was, but the one that was the regent. So I'm going to say it was not the third, but maybe the fourth. But anyway, that particular George could not spend money fast enough. And if you ever go along Regent Street in London, that street was established by George, the Regent Prince, as a beautiful promenade, a walk, a lovely drive that you can make to get to his home. And so, yeah, that's where that term comes from, Regency. That was a period of art and wealth and overindulgence. And because of the war with France, a lot of the aristocrats were forced to stay in London rather than take their usual grand tour. And so they spent a lot of money and developed a lot of art rather than going to the continent to buy art. They developed more art at home. And that was that very gilded Regency period. Let me see. That carriage is solid gold. By the way, not plated, solid gold. I doubt if it's solid gold, but it is pretty heavy. It takes but I'm thinking it's got to be gilded. It can't be solid gold, but it is heavy. I mean, it is very heavy, but I don't think it's solid. But yeah, that's when all of this came along. Was the Hanoverians and the Coburg Gothas of the Saxe-Coburg. They spent a lot of money. House of Parasites, and then of course Charles. And this is going to be a huge mistake. I got a feeling that if they press ahead with this big, fat, what do you call it? Coronation, I swear it is going to backfire in the most epic way. So I hope they do it. I really hope they do it. They are going to solve a lot of problems for the Republicans, that is the ones in the UK that would like to get rid of the royal family, or to at least get rid of the institution. They are going to make work so much easier for them, because it is going to be a huge mistake to have that big coronation. And so lastly, I would like to end with one of my favorite paintings. It is called The Wedding of Cana. And this painting is in the Louvre, just opposite of the Mona Lisa. This painting was actually stolen from a church in Venice. It was stolen by Napoleon. When Napoleon went around Europe and looted the continent of all of its treasures, this painting, which is so large that it had to be cut in half so that they could they cut the frame and they folded it. And so that was the only way that they could bring it back to Paris was by folding it. So it's a huge canvas, and it was in a church in Venice. They never returned it to Venice. The wall was empty for years until they finally created a replica. But it just goes to show life as we know it, in spite of all the revelry, in spite of all of the activity going on, gazing straight into your eyes at the center of the painting, you can see the image of Christ. Christ is the one constant in that image. Everything else is going on, but the only figure in that painting that is actually looking directly to you is the image of Christ. It's very spiritual the way they painted this. So just wanted to share that with you. And no, they're not serving pizza. There's no pizza involved in that painting. So, but yeah, I think it's probably, if I use the old imperial measurements, I'm going to say the canvas maybe like 12 or 15 by something. Anyway, it's huge. Very, very large. Okay, let's see. Lori says, Baron, I want them to go ahead and go on with the splashy fancy coronation. It will be the icing on the cake and the end of Charles' kingship, or whatever he thinks he is doing. An old fart being crowned. Yeah, I think it's going to be a big mistake. Yes, right hand, pal. Fix your eyes on Jesus Christ. Yeah. Yeah, I love that, though. The one constant. The first time I actually saw it, and, there was explanations given about everything. I mean, they have this huge banquet going on, and they're in the center of everything. The only face that actually looks at the viewer is Christ in the center of everything. Very, very cool. Thank you, Cookies and Cream. Everyone, please continue to pray for the Sussexes, each other, and the world. Lord knows we need it. Amen to that. And with that, you guys, that is it for today. Thank you all so much for being here. And remember, take care of yourselves and each other. Protect your mental health. Try to have a great start to the new year. They say whatever you're doing at the, for New Year's is what you'll do for the rest of the year. Verdi Sanchez says they did a program that actually said the war that happened in New Orleans was not the man, it was the white woman that started it, because so many white men had mistresses that looked white. Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Interesting. New Orleans is a great place. I only went to New Orleans for the first time a couple years ago, and I loved it. It was really, really nice. It exceeded my expectations. Now, I broke a tooth biting into a beignet. I won't forget that happened either. But yeah, I broke a tooth biting into a beignet. But otherwise, I had a really, really good time. I took some beautiful photos, and I actually stayed near Canal Street. And when you cross the street, you're like right there in the French Quarter. So that was very cool. Okay. Shelly L says the pic of them sitting on the throne, though nobody's smiling except Camilla. She can't believe she's there. Neither can we. Oh, man. That thing that they used to say, you can't turn a you-know-what into a housewife. Well, Camilla has proved that exception to be... No, not that that's what she was. I'm just kidding when I say that. But, anyway, she's there, and that's all to it. and the world is stuck with that image no matter what. So, but I think it really degrades the institution. And just think all of that stuff that they were, remember how they were just so adamant that the Duke of Windsor should never be the king. Well, he was the Prince of Wales before he was the Duke of Windsor, but the whole thing with Wallace Simpson, and it's interesting how the same way they accused Wallace Simpson of pulling some type of bedroom antics to control him, that's what they have accused Meghan of, as if anyway Meghan and Wallace Simpson compared to one another. That's a laugh. But yeah, they tried to pull that, and anyway, nowadays look at what they're stuck with. Charles has crossed quite a few. Well, he has breached quite a few norms in order to get in the position he's in right now. He has smashed quite a few conventions, and now he's there. And so people won't have any good reason to show deference and respect to him, because I don't think he's demonstrated any type of respectability. I mean, he just seems to make the rules up as he goes along. The idea of tradition and such is that, and as it is, I don't think those traditions made sense in the modern age. And so what happened was bound to happen. It's unfortunate that someone as kind and loving as Princess Diana was pulled into this institution, and that she would be the person that would be the example to the world that this way of life does not work. It's unfortunate. Thank you, Shelly L, for the super chat. All right, you guys, thank you very much. I am going to get going here. And yes, I can never remember that. Celia, I can never, ever remember that. The Duke of Windsor was actually Edward VIII, although the family referred to him as David. And he abdicated so he could marry Wallace Simpson. Right. So his family referred to him as David, but he actually had about 20 names. But David is the one that they stuck with. And then he styled himself as Edward VIII when he took the throne. And he was only on the throne for about a year before he abdicated. And then, of course, that's when he became the Duke of Windsor. Thank you so much for reminding us about that. Good night, Dorothy Ross. Let me see. Good night, Laura Murray. Oh, you're saying good night to someone. Sorry about that. Oh, thank you so much. Nokia Loves, thank you. Thank you. I had a good time. All right, and so we go. And that is it for today. And as per usual, we will definitely give our usual thanks to Princess Diana. Oh, poor Diana, the Queen of Hearts. And thank you, Doria. God knows you've been through a lot. Let me see. Really? Let me see. Maggie Howe not allowed to write in on. Oh, I don't even know what that is, so I'm gonna just skip that one. Okay. Before he abdicated, the Duke of Windsor said Wallace didn't have to be crowned queen and remain a princess. They told him no, because England, a wife assumes the rank of her husband. Hazel Jones is interesting. The whole thing about that, I'm not even sure how much I believe this stuff about him colluding with the Germans. I think that may have been something that was just made up to make a case against him, because the truth is there were a lot of people from England who frequented Berlin. Berlin was the social hotspot of Europe before the Second World War and before the Nazis took over. Everybody, Berlin was like going to Las Vegas. Berlin was like going to, well, Paris was not the social place to be. It was Berlin. Everybody went to Berlin. All of the wealthy traveled to Berlin. All of their vices were in Berlin. And so once the Nazis came along, there were still people who thought that Germany was actually very progressive and that, they would meet with the Nazis. They would meet with Hitler. And so the Duke of Windsor, he actually wasn't doing anything that the rest of them weren't doing, except for the king himself. But, the Queen's father, that is. But yeah, I don't buy that whole thing about Germany. I really don't. It's a great story. It's a great excuse to drive him off the throne. But I just think that it may be a lot of holes in that story. And the reason why I believe that is because just look at Meghan is a bully. Look at Meghan as a bully. Meghan as a bully came along at a convenient time because they weren't sure what was in the Oprah Winfrey interview. And even though the interview wasn't what they thought it was going to be, did they take it back? Did they take it back? Will they ever take it back? No. They will always use Meghan is a bully whenever they need to make a case against her. Right? The father, that didn't work. The sister, that didn't work. They couldn't bribe anybody to lie about her. That didn't work. They couldn't target her co-workers to speak against her. That didn't work. So what did they come up with? Meghan is a bully. And if Meghan is a bully is a big lie, how do I know that Edward the Eighth colluded with the Germans is the truth? See what I mean? It was convenient, but it doesn't mean it was true. I don't buy it. I think they put together a case. I think that case solved a lot of problems for them, but I just don't buy it. I don't buy it. There's a lot of people who spent time in Germany while Hitler was in power before the war. So I just don't buy it. I think it sounds compelling, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. And as they love to say nowadays, two things can be true at the same time. I just don't know if I buy it. So anyway, thank you for bringing that up, because I've had some thoughts about that, and I'm just not necessarily buying that whole thing. Hazel Jones, one of my favorite topics, the Mitford sisters. Most of the aristocracy had fascist leanings. Read up on the Mitford sisters. They were like the Kardashians of their day, by the way. So the queen always knew Camilla would be queen. They all lied to the people. Hazel Jones, amen, amen, amen. That is so true. The Mitford sisters were like the most well-known debutantes of the day. Everybody loves the Mitford sisters. And the Mitford sisters seemed to court the Nazis. Well known. And it wasn't a real problem until the war started. So, yeah, thank you, Hazel Jones. You guys, the squad is so knowledgeable. Just so knowledgeable. Let me see. Were they released, though, Lorna Williams? Were they released, or was that just a case that was built against him? You know what I mean? I am just not convinced that it was exactly what they said it was. a lot of that was based on opinions from people that they paid to find out things. So maybe he was colluding, maybe he wasn't. I'm not as convinced that it was what they said it was. I'll just say that. Um, yeah, I'm not so convinced. It could have gone several directions at the same time or not at all, but I'm just not convinced. It's convenient because it makes a case to drive him away from the throne, but it doesn't have to be complete and wholly the truth. But thank you so much. I'm always interested in that stuff, and I'll listen to either side of it. So true, Baron. Well, they said Wallace Simpson didn't love Edward, but she did. She died. She died alone in the home they shared together after Edward's death. Yeah, that was really sad that she was just like falling apart toward the end, barely able to function, and she became nonverbal. Let me see. Hey, Rosalind Gaywood. Okay, Megan, the Megan that the palace has created doesn't exist. Their description is not our Megan at all. Exactly. And if they lied about that, why should I believe that they're telling the truth about the Duke of Windsor? I mean, in real time, in the modern world, we see how they work. So why should we believe that that is true? That's what they said about him, but it doesn't necessarily ring true. The traitor king. It's just too convenient. That family will manufacture things as they say they would lie to protect others but won't tell the truth to help us. And so armed with that knowledge, when they say that Edward VIII was a traitor, I have to have a more discriminating, discerning approach to it because I can't trust the royal family. I just don't trust them. Whatever trust that I had in them before as an institution, as wanting to do good for the world, that all evaporated when they went after the Duchess of Sussex. That's all gone now. Whatever goodwill that I may have had for that institution is just not there anymore. And just like Harry had to wake up from the big lie, people that are casual observers have had to wake up from the big lie. But they lie about stuff. The Queen lied and said, you know what, you guys, it is 2 hours. I'm out of here. So Jacqueline Squash, thank you so much, our official chaplain of Royal Sussex. Our mighty God, our Heavenly Father, is cleaning house as far as the Sussex is concerned. What mighty God we serve. That battle against Harry, Meghan, and Meghan is not theirs, but it is the Lord's. Thank you so much, Jacqueline Squash, for the very wise words. And thank you for being the official chaplain of Royal Sussex. Let me see. Yes, Judy, that is why their documentary is so important. It is important. It's their chance to tell the truth, no matter what those liars say. It's their chance to tell the truth. They can play word games. They can obfuscate. They can actually. What does obfuscate mean again? But they can. What's the other word I'm looking for? Do all the whataboutisms and stuff. They can do all that stuff they want to. But the truth is, the Sussexes finally are able to speak directly to people. Instead of going back and forth and tit for tat, they simply bought their time until their docuseries was produced, and as they say in the movies, and in the can. And then at that point, at a time and a place of their choosing, and that of Netflix, they were able to present to the world the truth as they lived it. Not the truth as we know it, but the truth as they lived it. And that's all that matters, is their truth. The rest of that stuff, seeing that the royal family is willing to lie, seeing that they're willing to lie, I have no reason to believe anything that they say from this point forward. Rosalind Gatewood, thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you, as always, for watching Royal Sussex. And in advance, Happy New Year's to you. Thank you for being here. Created, organized. Okay. I just took a peek at the Twitter. That's always a bad mistake for me. Because inevitably I will find something. But no, I'm just going to look at it and go on, and not, if there's something I see, we'll talk about it tomorrow. Okay. Shelly L, thank you for the super chat. You have here, obfuscate is unclear and unintelligible. Well, that describes most of the Royal Sussex, doesn't it? That describes any episode of Royal Sussex. I knew it was something about that word that seemed very close to me, but I wasn't sure. Unclear and unintelligible. Thank you, Shelley L. I resemble that remark. And B10 Pal, thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. I'm going to have to rename this Royal Obfuscation. Thank you for watching Royal Obfuscate. Oh, man. Okay. So my list, thank you so much, Sherry Ware. Donations for today, and of course the memberships. Thank you, Ray of Light, AXO NAACP Vancouver, for your membership. Thank you, Legs, Black Queen, Elaine Parker, Joya Moore for the new membership. Tao for the super chat. Leola Brown, Hen Powell, Lorna Williams, Reva Henderson, Dorothy Ross, H. Knight, 8 months membership. Shelly L, thank you. Joan Garcia and Shelly L, thank you for the third time. Rosalind Gatewood, thank you. And B10 Powell, thank you very much. This has not been a Mark Goodson or Bill Totson production. No animals were maimed or injured throughout this episode of Royal Sussex. And any obfuscation was definitely unexpected, but quite typical. Oh, man. Okay, it's going to be a fun New Year's. And listen, you guys, this is what's going to happen New Year's Eve. So New Year's Eve, can you guys hear my chair squeaking? I promise you that is not vapors. That is my chair squeaking. I don't know if y'all could hear it. But New Year's Eve, so we will wish Happy New Year to the East Coast people. So I'm going to start at about I'm going to start about, I don't know, maybe 1:45 or maybe 11:30 East Coast time. And then we'll do the Happy New Year for the Central Time, which is the Midwest, Chicago, whatever. And then, I don't know, we might stay on later like we did last time. Because, I had almost forgot about this, but I remember last time I kept talking after midnight, and you guys said, well, you may as well just stay on because it's almost midnight Mountain Time. And I said, okay. And then after that, I kept talking, and you guys said, well, you may as well just stay on because it's almost midnight Pacific time. And I said, okay. And anyway, we were on for like 3 hours and 33 minutes. So I'm not saying that that is going to happen this time. I'm just saying I remember that happened last time. But at the very least, we're going to cover those two time zones. I can't really speak for the other ones, but we will see how the night goes. Yeah, and I remember that too. And that's when I said, nope. Yeah, somebody had brought up Hawaii. And of course, I think I said, well, if they're in the middle of the ocean by themselves, um, they can get through midnight by themselves, because at that point we were on for a long time. So we'll see. I'll have to try to plan some fun things for the night. But yeah, we'll do our usual for New Year's, and it should be fun. So if you guys are not staying in, if you guys don't feel like going out or whatever, we'll be here. So should be fun. And I will see you guys, and we will have at least the first one or two episodes of the the docu-series, live to lead, live to lead to live, whatever. We'll have that to talk about. Okay. All right. So thank you guys, and thank you all for being here. Love you guys. Yes, the Royal Sussex. Oh, by the way, I went over and picked up a couple of items. Thank you for the lovely fireplace. It didn't have a thank you note, so I don't know who got the fireplace, but it's a tabletop fireplace, and I forgot to add the photo. And thank you for the stainless steel bowl. That was lovely, Lydia Washington. I have been wanting one of those for the longest. As a matter of fact, I enjoyed it so much. I may have, okay, yeah, I did. I put the bigger size on there so that I could have the bigger size. Again, there's no obligation to even glance at the wish list, let alone buy anything. But if you do, that would be wonderful. And I do thank you for it in advance. But yeah, I have been wanting one of those stainless steel bowls for the longest. I love ramen soup, right? And so it has a double wall, which keeps the soup warm. But when you go to lift up the bowl, it is rather, cool, or at least room temperature to the touch. Beautiful, beautiful bowl. And you could use it for ice cream. And what's that green stuff that I be seeing people eating? It's got like dressing, some kind of sauce or dressing on it. It's mostly green, and sometimes they have red stuff in it, and um, I think it comes out the ground or whatever. But I see people can use it for that too. Um, yes, salad. That's it, salad. You could also put salad in those bowls. So, um, you can also put salads, and that's what it's called. You could also put salads in those bowls. So ice cream, soup, and um and what was that again? Salads. You can put salads in that bowl. So yeah. Anyway, like I said, and my tabletop fireplace, again, it didn't have the thank you note in it, so I don't know who sent it, but I love it. I put it under my Christmas tree, so that is going to be my warm spot as I binge watch something tonight. But yes, thank you again. Let me see. What was that? Baron, one day we had to do a wish list for the Honorable Trenchtown Man. I don't know if we could afford him because he wants 330, or was it $345 billion? I don't know if we could afford Trenchtown Man. Okay, you guys, I'm going to go because we're going on 2.5 hours, and we're going to have a long night tomorrow night. So I'm not sure if I'm going to come on in daytime, but I probably will. But yeah, we're going to have a long night tomorrow night. So get your rest, and I will see y'all then. Good thing that I have been staying up late lately, last night it was so warm outside. I had a chance to go out and fix my Christmas lights. I got some of those meteor lights. I actually put that on my list if you guys haven't seen it. But one of the strands of lights broke. And I was so sad about that because I love those lights, right? Well, I actually went out there with some electric tape. Actually, I brought it in the house. I took some electric tape and I spliced it and fixed it, and now they work just fine. But at least they'll get me through this year and probably next year. But the wind was so terrible that they broke. I guess like the plastic case and the metal, it just it was blowing back and forth, and next thing I know that the strand of lights broke. So yeah, but I fixed it, so it's cool for now. But yeah, I had everything looking so nice outside, and even my neighbors had complimented me, and I was just like so sad that the lights had broke, but it's back up and running. So oh, your order is ready for pickup. Interesting. I didn't expect that. All right. So thank you, everybody. And I will see you all tomorrow. Okay. All right. Very good. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Love you guys as always. And thank you supporting and watching Royal Sussex. And yes, please do. Don't forget, you guys, watch Netflix. Harry and Meghan are presenting the, so Harry and Meghan presents. I love that. Harry and Meghan presents. Let me see. 23rd May, you be in good health and be successful at whatever you do, and your cup overflow with blessings. Oh, Celia, that is so wonderful. Thank you for saying that. Let me see. Jacqueline says Jesus said he is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Oh, that is beautiful. Thank you, Jacqueline. Yeah, kind of like in the painting, a constant. In other words, a constant, always. Let me see. Oh, really? Edward did Edwina did a documentary on his uncle, but I couldn't find it. Edward did the documentary through his production company. Oh, what was the name of the company? Won't be around long. In over our heads. Um, oh, that's just cruel. I'm just kidding, Veronica. At least he tried. Edward tried to do something away from the family, and I think one of the reasons why that company didn't work out is because they really didn't want him to be successful. You have to get away from all of that negativity if you want to be successful. Okay, I see y'all just feel like talking, but I'm fixing to go. Right, C-Mac? Right. Yeah. Because we're going to be up tomorrow night. So say goodnight, Gracie. Oh, it's called Edward on Edward. Oh, that sounds a bit risque, doesn't it? That's interesting. That sounds very Windsor like, doesn't it? Edward on Edward. Yeah, I'm sure. As I make it sound salacious, right? Yes, Sophia is saying good night. Sophia Gunner says good night, y'all. So that's good enough for me. Yes, I see that, Connie Balmer. Y'all are still hanging on, but I'm fixing to go. Let me see here. Yes, exactly, Marshar. Gotta go. Gotta go, gotta go. And y'all just feel like talking. Oh man. Yes, well, um, I do love to have a good time. Okay. All right. So you guys, we are going to Gingervenge. Oh, you know what? I'm not going to Gingervenge. I'm not going to. Um, I'm just going to play my little thing again here because, well, anyway, I love. No, I think Gingervenge. Got a Gingervenge. Okay, you guys, love you, and I will see y'all. I'm not coming back after Gingervenge. We got all night tomorrow night to have fun, remember, talk, reminisce, obfuscate, celebrate, appreciate, congregate, Watergate. um. Oh, I know another one. Emaciate. Yeah, we could emaciate. Um, we can whatever love is gate. Um, we can Pizzagate. We can do all that stuff tomorrow. Okay. All right. So yes, and Peggate. Right. And associate. Oh man. Is that it? Are we done? Okay, that's it then. Associates have it. All right, and Q Ginger Avenger. Okay, there we go.